Good morning. I'm Reverend Jennifer Nordstrom, honored to serve you as your senior minister. Our opening words this morning are the poem Dreaming to Wake. I revised the title of it because it's mine. We wake again to news of more heartbreak, precious bodies broken, and sacred lives, families, dreams. We wake again to yesterday's pain still sitting heavy on the chest, the flesh of this world, tender, fragile, precious. We wake again, too, to sunlight streaming in the day, to stirring, to stretching, to a warm cup of tea, to the smell of coffee, the press of flesh next to us. The dance of love and loss is always fresh, resistance and surrender swirling as our own hearts make way, practicing, choosing love, dreaming of the world of love, beloveds, dreaming the exact smell of the streets in which no one has been shot. Vahavta, Aurora Levins Morales, dreaming of the world where people bring each other soup on the weekends because they made too much, and you shall love. Dreaming of the children running from house to house everywhere, a safe place everywhere, a refuge every house, an auntie, a grandma, a cousin, where the fishers catch at the feast and share it, and the gold lines, the cracks between you and me, us and them, past and future connect, dreaming, awake, becoming, in our radiant particulars, because we finally realized we've all been one since the beginning, and this difference, this flesh, is just precious learning. Will you please rise in body or spirit for our opening hymn, Change is Coming. It's in your order of service. Dear ones, if you are feeling passionate, if you are feeling moved about what is happening in the world right now and what the church's work in the world is today, where we're going together as a community, please come to one of the Board of Trustees visioning sessions for our future. Everyone is invited to add your voice to the democratic process that everyone will shape together. It will shape our ministry for the next 7 years. There's even a session this week, Thursday, if you want to learn more about the board's process of visioning our future together and what the role of our congregation is in this moment and going into the future, please come talk to the Board of Trustees at their table at coffee hour today. To make sure that we have the capacity to steward that work with our finances in order to realize our vision, this congregation held a Forge Our Future campaign to build a principle-protected endowment to fund the future of ministry at this church. So today, we are celebrating the close of that campaign's pledge period. So many of you have been diligently contributing to First Church and our future with generous contributions to the campaign, and I am so grateful, and all of the leadership and the entire community of this congregation is grateful. I want to invite up Holly Patzer and Mark Chambers, who are the co-chairs of the Forge Our Future campaign.
Good morning, everyone. I can't believe it's been more than 3 years. It was over 4 years ago when Jennifer asked me to chair, and I said, there's no way I'm doing it alone.
And she still did it alone.
Absolutely not true. So I'm Holly Patzer, one of the co-chairs, as I said, of the Forge of the Future campaign. I'm also on the finance team for a lot of years. Somehow have been drawn to money. Now, don't judge me for that. I have a full understanding that you can't do good work and you can't have good infrastructure without some cash. So the creation of the Endowment Trust was an evolving process, many years in the making. Even prior to Reverend Jennifer being called to our church, the Board of Trustees formed the Income Opportunity Committee, also known as the IOC. Thank you, Sally Lewis. We were going to explore long-term financial sustainability. Annual pledges were not covering the cost of church operations, and we needed to find a way to end, or at the very least, slow down the annual draw from church reserves in order to cover the operating expenses. Additionally, many members had dreams of bolstering membership and expanding ministries, and it was all going to require some income. Numerous research sessions were held with our members, which led us to recommend the possibility of investing some of our unrestricted gifts. Then a strategic planning team used expert consultants to help us with a strategy to achieve long-term financial sustainability. All of this work, all of this 10+ years, led to the Forge Our Future campaign. This was not an overnight idea in order to create this endowment trust. So here we are, many volunteers, focus groups, and innumerable one-on-one member visits in people's homes and coffee hour. Here we are. We are proud. We are grateful that so many of you believed in this legacy goal. It was not easy to articulate, but you believed in it. And today I think we know more than ever why we need it.
My name's Mark Chambers, and I'm the co-chair of the campaign with Holly and current president of the congregation. In order to put the endowment that Holly talked about to work, we organized a separate nonprofit organization, the First Unitarian Society of Milwaukee Endowment Trust. We appointed the Board of Trustees of the organization, as called for by that trust, appointed 3 trustees. They are Dave Becker, Ron Oshima and Betty Schrader. The trustees then chose the Unitarian Universalist Common Endowment as the organization in which to invest our funds. Enough about organization. The more exciting news we have to share with you today is that we have collected $2.6 million for the Forge Our Future Endowment. I want to, no drum rolls, no ooga horns, I'm sorry, but we didn't organize quite completely. As my able assistant will show you, we still have a little bit of work to do. Our original goal was $3 million. We had commitments from the congregation to a little bit more than $2.8 million. And as I mentioned to you a little bit ago, we have collected and it's in the bank, that $2.6 million that's displayed there. So we have a little bit more work to do. And for those of you still working on completing your pledge, please know we understand that circumstances change. If those circumstances happen to be a matter of timing and you need more time, 4 years rather than 3, take 4 years and let us know that you're doing that. If it's just a matter of not having gotten to it yet, do it now. For new members and members who might not have been able to participate in the original campaign, I implore you, I ask that you consider becoming part of this legacy. And for the endowment is not for just today. It's in fact not even for this year. It's a commitment that you've made for the future of this community and the values and principles we hold dear. It will continue to bring benefit to this organization long after you and I and our annual pledge payments are gone. Again, thank you for your belief in this community and the generosity and wisdom you've shown in forging our future. And make sure you come and get some cake to celebrate.
I invite everyone to enter a time of contemplation now, which will be followed by silence, followed by the seated singing of hymn 123, Spirit of Life. Spirit of life and love, Holy One of our being and our becoming, that which is sacred within, among, and beyond us. Hold us in love and strength today. Hold the tender, the hurting, the grieving, the lost, the afraid. Let love wrap around each of us, gently tending all we carry. May all those who are suffering be comforted. We send our love to Becca Good, to Renee Good's children and parents and family and community, to our siblings and kin in Minneapolis, and to all those who have suffered state violence. You are not alone. We are not alone. No one is alone. We are all in this together, finding our way home to love. Amen.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the First Unitarian Society of Milwaukee. I'm Jessie, and I am pleased to serve as your worship associate. We are a faith community of many identities. We welcome people of all genders, sexualities, ages, races, ethnicities, histories, abilities, and bodies. We welcome your mind, your heart, and your spirit. We welcome all you are carrying with you today and all your heart longs to set down. We welcome all the people watching online as we live stream this service. Hello, online folks. We enthusiastically welcome guests joining us today. If you are a guest visiting in person and want to connect with us, please fill out a welcome card located in the pew rack in front of you and drop it in the offering plates that will come around in a few minutes. If you are visiting online and want to connect, a link to connect with us will soon appear. Will soon appear in the chat for you to click on and fill out. Someone from church will reach out to you to connect with you. After the service, we invite you to join us for the social hour across the hall in the Lean House Common Room. Some accessibility notes. Hearing assist devices and large print hymnals and orders of service are in the back of the sanctuary, along with worship activity bags for children and anybody who wants one. There is a fragrance-free area in the front right pews. If you are watching online, you can enable YouTube's closed captioning on your viewing devices. All are welcome to attend the Earth Justice Ministry gathering today and participate in the food, fun, and futures activities from 12:30 to 2 in the Young Room. Interested in becoming a volunteer English as a second language tutor at Voices de la Frontera? A Thursday night 10-week course is starting February 2nd. Training and teaching materials are provided. For more information, see the flyer at the social justice table. There's nothing like getting a real letter. We are thrilled to offer the annual Mystery Friends program with sign-ups open now. During Mystery Friends, children and youth age 5 and up are matched with adults in the church community as pen pals. See Fiona for details. Join us Saturday, January 17th, 1 to 4 p.m. for a training designed for people of faith to learn strategies and tactics of nonviolent resistance to authoritarianism. Together, we will explore the role of congregations, run through possible scenarios, and practice physical nonviolence techniques through role play. We welcome all who want to defend democracy through disciplined nonviolence as an expression of faith. Childcare is available. I invite you to share in our First Church purpose by joining me in a unison affirmation of our mission, which is printed in your order of service. We gather to nurture the spirit, engage the mind, and inspire action. Whoops, I skipped a page. Each week, we practice our values through sharing our resources. Our pledges are at the core of our spiritual practice of generosity. In addition, the church shares half of all non-pledge cash in our offering plate with a community organization practicing our value of interdependence. Today, we share the plate with Street Angels, a mobile outreach organization dedicated to assisting individuals in ending their unsheltered homelessness. The offering will now be gratefully received as we sing seated hymn number 169, We Shall Overcome, a traditional African-American spiritual. I invite all children, youth, and faith formation volunteers to sing the first verse, then follow Reverend Kimberly to the Lean House Common Room and then downstairs for faith formation. If your child needs to check in, please join them. May the practice of giving bring us joy. Like many young girls growing up, I was into dolphins and whales. But I was also into sharks. Very into sharks. Every time I'd walk into the library, the librarian would sigh a little and tell me again that I had already read all the shark books and they hadn't gotten any more yet. I was convinced that someday I would become a marine biologist and spend my life cage diving studying sharks. This was not a phase, this was a calling. Then high school happened, and with it came the conversations, the ones about the future, the practical ones, the responsible ones. With my love of math and helping my stepdad rebuild motorcycles in the garage, engineering seemed like a reasonable compromise, a sensible pivot. So I went to college and I became a civil engineer, and everyone was happy. My stepdad was proud. At least one of his kids would be setting themselves up with a solid career. My dad was thrilled that I'd be following in my grandfather's footsteps. My mom and my grandmother were relieved that I'd be making good money and would not have to struggle the way they had. Happy, happy, joy, joy. There was just one problem. I was miserable. I was a young woman trying to tell a group of older men who'd been doing that work for decades how to do their jobs. I was ignored, I was uncomfortable, and I doubted myself constantly. Now, as a perimenopausal mother of two, I would have no trouble holding my ground. But back then, I didn't have the voice or the armor. But I resisted changing careers. I pushed through. I told myself this was just how adulthood worked. My mental health declined. I struggled with severe depression. My body reflected the stress. I developed crippling eczema. My weight climbed, and I felt disconnected from myself and everyone around me. But what choice did I have? I'd invested time and money. People were proud of me. Walking away felt like failure, not just of expectations, but of identity. So I danced with resistance. I dug in. I endured. I stayed. Until one ordinary day, everything changed. I was visiting my mom, curled up with a book while she was watching Shark Week, one of my favorite weeks of the year. On the TV, the narrator was talking about great white sharks and their teeth and how the Hawaiian people use them for their clubs, and he showed one. I glanced up and without thinking said, "Those aren't great white shark teeth, those are tiger shark teeth," and went right back to my book. My very loving mother immediately threw a pillow at my head. "Sweetie," she said lovingly, "that is not something normal people know. Go back and get that biology degree." And just like that, the resistance stopped. In that moment, I realized how much energy I had spent fighting my truth, how much effort it took to stay in a life that looked right on paper, but felt wrong in my bones. Change didn't come because I failed. Change came because I finally listened and surrendered to the truth. I went back to school. I went from a barely passing student to nearly straight A's. I lost 70 pounds, not because I punished my body, but because I was finally aligned with it. I found a career that does not involve diving with sharks, but I've learned to never rule it out. What this journey taught me is that resistance isn't always wrong. Sometimes it protects us. Sometimes it buys us time. But when resistance turns into self-betrayal, when it keeps us from becoming who we are meant to be, it's time to change the steps of the dance.
God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I met my childhood best friend when we were 5 years old. In kindergarten, we played tag and chased each other around the playground. In high school, we went swimming together at the lake and danced to local bands. And in college, I lived with her during my gap year when I worked at nonprofits and she swam for a Big Ten school. I baptized her first child, held her second in my arms the day after she was born. And then, about 10 years ago, my beloved sister by choice started using hard drugs. She became an addict, and the worst parts of her personality became dominant. She was regularly cruel, manipulative, demanding. At first, I was ready to fight with everything I had, to fight the addiction. I thought with enough love and effort I could save her. But as time went on, I grew weary of her repeated patterns of reeling me in with pleas of help only to use me and then be cruel once she got what she wanted. I felt more and more helpless. One time she asked me to help her get clean, and during her detox, my beloved uncle died. In order to care for myself in that moment, I made plans to get out of her house for just a bit, and she completely lost it, screaming at me, calling me names. In my grief in that moment, I had had enough, and I left. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. It was in that moment that I truly began to wrestle with the last line of the prayer, the one where I believe it gets tricky. The wisdom to know the difference. This prayer that is so prevalent in communities that are dealing with addiction, it offers itself to you, but you have to answer the question, how do you tell the difference? This has been a hard week for the resistance. Renee Nicole Good, a 37-year-old mother of 3, was murdered in Minneapolis on Wednesday by an ICE agent. She was legally observing ICE in her neighborhood. She was a poet, a wife. She was a mother. Her 2020 poem on learning to dissect fetal pigs won an Academy of American Poets Prize. The poem closes, "Maybe there, in between my pancreas and large intestines, is the pitilly brook of my soul. It's the ruler by which I reduce all things now, hard-edged and splintering from knowledge that used to sit, a cloth against fevered forehead. Can I let them both be, this fickle faith and this college science that heckles from the back of the classroom? Now I can't believe that the Bible and the Quran and the Bhagavad Gita are sliding long hairs behind my ear like Mom used to, and exhaling from their mouths make room for wonder. All my understanding dribbles down the chin onto the chest and is summarized as life is merely to ovum and sperm and where those two meet, and how often and how well and what dies there, and how often, and how well, and what dies there. Human life, so fragile and precious and miraculous. How often and how well. This is the core of our faith as Unitarian Universalists, the preciousness of life with love at its center. When those two meet, how often and how well, and what dies there. There are turning points in resistance movements. Often turning points come when the mainstream realizes that the state's violence can be turned upon them. That moment, that turning point moment, it does not change the truth that every human life is precious, and all of those who have lost their lives to ICE and to authoritarianism more broadly, both here and overseas, all those people matter. All of their lives are precious, and what's happening right now is an awakening. We are living through a turning moment in this movement for resistance, just as many movements before have experienced. During the civil rights movement, after white supremacists in the South murdered Jimmy Lee Jackson, Unitarian Universalists were part of turning the tide against authoritarianism. 2 of our Unitarian Universalists were martyred in that movement. The Unitarian minister, Reverend James Reeb's murder galvanized the nation against the violence of authoritarianism and in support of the civil rights movement. Later, the exact same month that Reverend Reeb was killed, Unitarian Universalist mother of 5, Viola Luiso, was also killed by white supremacists when she traveled from Detroit to the South to support the resistance. In the trial for the men who killed her, for the very first time in Southern history, an all-white, all-male jury convicted the 3 members of the KKK who murdered her. Jimmy Lee Jackson, Reverend James Reeb, Viola Luiso. They were all killed in the same month in 1965. And that month turned the tide of this country against authoritarianism and in support of the civil rights movement. Today, in this turn of the wheel, Renee Nicole Good joins at least 7 other people who have been shot by ICE. A husband and a wife in Portland, Oregon, who were shot in front of a hospital on Friday this week. 2 people in Chicago, 1 in September and another in October. Another human being in Texas, another in Los Angeles. Precious, precious lives, delicate bodies, sacred humanity. Where those 2 meet, and how often, and how well, and what dies there. In this turning point moment, in this resistance movement, when people are feeling that connection to Renee Nicole Good, those who perpetrated the violence against her will try to demonize her. Don't let them. Don't let them call her that woman. She was Renee Nicole Macklin Good. Tell the truth. Tell the truth about her death. Say that she told the officer who shot her, "I'm not mad at you." Say that there were children's toys in the car. Say a doctor tried to help her, but they wouldn't let him. Say she was a stay-at-home mom and a poet and a Christian and a neighbor and a woman who loved her kids and wanted to help people. Be part of the resistance to narratives of hate and stay with the grief and the truth and the outrage. Because in this moment, in this movement, the wheel is turning. This is a tide turning moment. And with our participation, it will keep turning. Not because, don't get the theology wrong, not because people have to die in order to turn the tide, but because the people rise when they do to proclaim the preciousness of all human life. Renee sparkled, her wife Becca said. She sparkled. And she died the way that she lived, in kindness and in commitment to her value of loving people and showing up in love for her neighbors. In remembering her, we can carry on those values and keep insisting on kindness, keep insisting that all human life is precious and all people are beloved. Still, resistance dances with surrender. It always does. In this moment, in that discernment, in the wisdom to know the difference, I make no calls to surrender to fear or to fascism. But I do invite us to surrender to the mystery, to release into the not knowing of how this story will unfold. Surrender in this way releases the pain and the stress of control. We are at a turning point now, but we don't know exactly how the story is going to turn. The wheel turns under our hands, but also the hands of thousands, of millions of other unfoldings, and the only control that we have is throwing our own lives towards love, with love, and trusting that the arc of the moral universe bends with us towards justice. We can find serenity here in not being attached to specifics, in that release, while also at the same time putting the weight of our lives on the side of love. We can trust the ultimate end, where the arc of the moral universe bends at the horizon, at the edge of our vision, where the call of all that is holy and beloved goes. We know that that place on the horizon is love. The path we take to get to that becoming, that's what's unknown. When my beloved friend was in the throes of addiction, I had to surrender my control. I could not control her choices. I could not control her addiction. I did not know what would happen. But I never stopped loving her. I chose boundaries that were right for me, for my own well-being, as an act of love for us both, but I held on to a faith in a larger love that went beyond any finite moment. During my time away from her, I sent love to her every single day. I held her in light in my morning meditation, and I prayed that all love would surround her and hold her in her pain and help her heal. In this moment in history, when the future is being decided right now, we can find serenity by surrendering to the mystery, to the not knowing how this story is going to unfold, and then still throw the fullness of our fight into love and resistance, resting in our universalist faith that the ultimate love is the end of all stories. If you're wondering what it means to throw the fight of your life, throw the weight of your love into this fight, listen to your heart's call. That's where love speaks. It will whisper to you what your call in this moment is. I don't have that answer for you, but love does. Listen to your own heart where it speaks. And I pray that this nation can let go of its own addictions to power, to violence, to domination and greed and racism. And I still know that our universalist ancestors are right. There is a love that is larger than us, larger than this moment that is holding us and all that is. And that love is the beginning and the end of all stories. And it pulls us towards it, whispering in our hearts the call of love, tucking a strand of our hair behind our heads like the Bible, the Quran, and the Bhagavad Gita, exhaling, make room for wonder. That mystery, that larger love, it holds all of this. It holds Renee and her mother and her children and her wife. It holds the dog and the toys and the car. It holds me and it holds you, and it holds our fear and our fighting and our surrender and our dance. It holds the hope and the unknowing and the becoming. It holds your love and your loved ones, and it holds mine. And it dreams with us, the dream of what we still might become, the dream of a world of love that lives when we show up, the dream of neighbors stepping out of their houses and running towards the danger because that was the direction of their neighbor. It holds the dream of addictions set down and children picked up, the dream of a world of poems about wonder, the dream of the world of feeding one another and forgetting the hate because it melts away next to the truth of our reality. We are each other's keeper. We are each other's brother and sister and sibling and kin. We are each other. And when we realize that together, the dream awakens and it becomes real. May it be so. Dear ones, you are not alone. We are all in this together. Knowing that, may you release control, surrender to the larger love, trusting in its song, and then put your hand to the turning of the wheel. Answer the call love is making to your life, and join in the work of bringing the beloved community alive. May it be so. Will you please rise in body or spirit for our recessional hymn 108, My Life Flows On, an Endless Song.